wanted to talk through the assignment, Universally Designed Center or Station. So when we think about a center, we think about an interactive learning activities for learners. Completing a worksheet is not considered a center or a station. Now, when you're in the public schools, this is often what you see. So for this center assignment, what I'd like you to do is start by identifying a learning standard. So you say to yourself, where do I find the learning standards? Well, at the bottom of the assignment, it says helpful links to resources, Ohio Department of Education Learning Standards. So you're going to decide whether you want to do a math standard or an English language arts standard. In any case, you also need to decide what grade you're going to be doing. So if you're choosing a math standard, what you're going to do is scroll down, and if you continue down, you can choose your standards by grade levels. I'm going to choose a grade 2 standard. Within this document, there's a page called How to Read the Grade Level Standards. You might want to take some time and look at that. So once you find the grade level and the standard that you want to do, you need to copy that entire standard down so that you have it for your reference. If you're going to choose an English language arts standard, you click on ELA, and you're going to find the same type of website, and you need to explore the website a bit. For the English language arts standards, you're going to decide which strand you want to start with. So for instance, if you want to do informational text, you click on Reading Informational. And once you get in here, it will show you a standard, an anchor standard, and then what your standard is for your grade level. So you need to make sure when you're putting this in your center, you highlight and copy the anchor standard as well as the grade 2 or 3 or 1, whatever grade level you choose to do for that. So that's how you find your standards. So this is the standard that I chose. It's a math standard, compared to 3-digit numbers based on meanings of hundreds, tens, ones digits, using greater than, equal to, and less than symbols to record the results of comparisons. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I start looking for center ideas. So once you have your learning standard in mind, you want to find a lesson or center idea that you can use to create your own center from. So you're going to make sure to cite the source of the original center idea when sharing your center. So I listed 4 different websites that show different center ideas and lesson ideas that you can start with to get just started with your center. So I'm going to click this Math Strategies from the National Center on Intensive Intervention. So when I go to this website, it's showing me intervention materials, sample lessons. Well, I'm on the math one already, so I'm going to just scroll down and I'm going to decide what skill my standard falls under. So I would imagine it's probably something to do with place value. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to scroll through and see what kind of activities there are. And I'm just going to scroll through and sort of explore this website a little bit. So as I'm going through the document, I see a couple things that I'm like, okay, so I might want to use some numbers with number models using place value. So I'm going to just continue to look through this, And as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, okay, well, if they have build or draw and then they show the numbers, that's something that it's a good place to start. I also might want to look at this Math Learning Center resources, Box It or Bag It, grades K to 2, and just see what kind of ideas are up here. So let's see. Let me just look at grade 2 and see what's there. So I went through the document with the math ideas, and I saw some spinners, I saw some templates for drawing tens and ones and hundreds. So I think I'm going to just sort of stick with spinners and that. When you're looking for ideas, you can also feel free to Google and go to Pinterest and see what's going on. I actually sort of like this idea here. So I'm like, oh, that might be fun also. So just check out what you want to, think about what you want to do and have some starting point, but you don't even have to have a starting point as far as a resource. But if you do use somebody's idea, then you want to make sure you give them credit for it. So my starting point is basically two students are going to play this center together, and each student is going to create a 3-digit number with a spinner or a dice, and then the students will then write, create, and compare the numbers. So that's just my starting point. So the next thing you want to do is think about the 3 components of Universal Design for Learning. So I think one of the easiest components is engagement. So think about your learners and how you're going to engage them. So for this particular center, I want I feel like rolling the dice might be engaging, shaking a pillbox with some dice in it might be engaging, or spinning a spinner might be engaging. So I'm going to give my learners that choice of those 3 things. They're going to have choices throughout the activity. When I think about expression and action, so that's how they're going to show what they know, I'm going to have them create numbers using base 10 blocks, but also giving them the choice of drawing the base 10 blocks. And then they're going to have to write or stamp the numbers. And then at some point they need to draw the symbols or stamp the symbols, or you could even have little cardboard cutout symbols, and they just have to manipulate those to show you which way the symbol goes. As far as representation, so I'm thinking about the content that I'm giving them through this center, and I want to give them some clues and cues for the content. So some things that I might do, I might include some visual aids with symbols and words. I might include show them some hand signals for greater than and less than. I might also provide some visual cues for making numbers, hundreds, tens, ones. And so when you're thinking through your centers, think through those 3 components. So for this particular activity, I would like you to have it planned out and actually show me what those visuals are going to look like. Show me, create a template for what the students are going to do. I am just doing the thinking through process with you, but you're actually going to have to show me in pictures and words what this center is going to look like. So typically for this assignment, you would share your center and actually have it all set up for your peers to look at. But we're not able to do that because we're all online. So what you need to do for this assignment so far is you're going to submit a brief summary of the center with the following headings: the source of the center idea, you're going to submit the learning standard and learning targets. So I'm going to take a minute and talk about the learning targets. So if you recall, the standard that I chose was compared to 3-digit numbers based on meanings of the hundreds, tens, and ones digits using greater than, equal to, and less than symbols to record the results of the comparisons. When you're making a learning target, it's going to be an I can statement. So the I can statement that would go with this is, I can compare two numbers that are 3 digits using the symbols greater than, less than, and equal to. So that would be your learning target. So you're going to have the source of the center idea, if you had one, the learning standard and learning targets addressed, and then a description of how your center addresses the 3 components of UDL, engagement, representation, and action and expression. And then finally, how to complete the center. This summary can use bullets and should be no more than a page. And in this document, I would also like you to add at least 1 to 3 pictures of the centers. I would like you to include as many pictures as you need so that the center idea is clear. I'm more concerned about you building in the components of UDL and also how are the students going to complete the center. So you're going to submit that in this assignment, and then what you're going to do is you're going to create a video explaining the center to your peers and upload it into the UDL Center discussion board. So that is my explanation of this assignment. I hope it helps.